Hey everyone, Justin from High Tech Simplicity here. Thanks for checking out this video, or maybe you're listening to this on audio, not watching, listening. Thank you so much. Make sure you give us a rating on the podcast, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. Josh travels a lot, like we've said before, and I'm going to try and catch him in the car and talk to him about this little thing that I saw Gary Vee do. He's been doing it on Instagram, and it is a overrated, underrated thing. So we're trying to do that, and I'm going to see if I can get Josh in. He's probably in an airport or in his car somewhere, and yeah, we'll see what we can do. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. Thanks so much. Josh, are you there?
I am here.
You're traveling, I see. Like you always are.
Sort of. Yeah. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Hey, so I've been watching Gary Vee do this thing on Instagram called Overrated, Underrated, and I think it's a really kind of a cool idea, and I wanted to do it with you while you were traveling.
Right on. I dig it. I'm down.
Cool. Where are you at? Are you in it looks like it's sunny there.
Yeah, Minneapolis, St. Paul this week.
Nice.
For a speaker shootout.
Well, that's awesome. I'm assuming you saw tons of technology this week, so you should probably tell some people what you saw.
I did. Some good, some bad, and some indifferent.
Nice. All right.
But I'll be classy and not name names.
That's probably the best thing to always do, is not name names. So yeah, did you kind of understand what this whole thing was? Is that it's I'm gonna give you either something or a person or something along those lines, and I want to know if you think that they're overrated or underrated. Gary even does he says rated for like if he thinks it is exactly where it needs to be.
Okay.
So let's kick this off. I'm gonna say what do you think about the Google Pixel?
I would say overrated.
Why do you think it's overrated?
Honestly, I think that everything that Google has been doing is still chasing both Apple and the other platforms like the Samsung phones. Mm-hmm. And they're in a market where I just don't think that they're cheap enough to entice people to them with the feature packs that they have.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt like if you wanted to play in the world, like because where we're at now with the iPhone and the Galaxy line, is like if you want to be competitive, you have to be as good as them, but it like significantly cheaper. Right?
Right. The reality is it seems unlikely that they are going to innovate faster. And I say that as a whole. I mean, when I look at the Google, the G Suite and all of that kind of stuff, I just think for whatever reason, they're being left in the dust when it comes to development of stuff, even by companies like Microsoft most recently. So, yeah, I would say overrated.
Cool. How about Bose headphones?
Honestly, for the layperson, underrated.
Okay.
So I wore a pair of the most recent version of the Quiet Comfort headphones, and I have. I'm a gadget guy. I have had more pairs of noise canceling headphones than most people will ever have in their entire lifetime. And I've had a few of the first versions of them, and I was never very impressed. But the most recent pair that I wore probably had the best noise cancellation I've heard in a pair of headphones like that, especially if you're a traveler on airplanes. They were extremely comfortable. And the microphone set on them, I think there's something like 7 microphones on the current model.
Yeah.
Really was very impressive. I don't know that I would wear those over my AirPod Pros just because of the flexibility and pure form factor and size of my AirPod Pros. Mm-hmm. But overall, I think they're still an underrated product. And I'll be interested to see if that product is the one thing that keeps Bose around through all of this.
Yeah. No, I agree. Bose is just such a weird brand when it comes to because they do the home theater, they do the pro line things, and they do these headphones. That just always has seemed kind of strange to me because they're just all over the place, kind of like Yamaha, where it's like, it's not like Yamaha does bad things in the pro space or in the consumer space. It's just like, it's just hard to like wrap my head around someone who makes a keyboard, a motorcycle, and a $100,000 sound console.
Right. I think where Bose differs is, I mean, number one, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but their professional audio division went bye-bye with the pandemic.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and they closed, to my knowledge, all of their retail stores across the country, you know, where you used to be able to go and listen to the surround sound system, and then all of a sudden they take the facade off the speaker, and what you thought was a speaker that was this big is like that big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are all gone. But what I'll say is, you know, Yamaha is very interesting in that it is really a piano company that happens to sell commercial and professional audio.
Yeah.
And I think that I have a friend who works for them, and I think that they're trying to change that image. But what they've done really well in the motorsports division is they're not always the fastest. They're not always the most powerful, but they are undoubtedly the most reliable. And I think that's something that them and Honda has always been able to really rely on.
Yeah. It's kind of like a budget car rental where they were like, you know, we're never going to be the cheapest. We're never going to be the nicest. Like, we're okay being the second best car rental company, but we're going to be the best second place car rental company ever.
Right.
No, that's cool. Okay, so the next two things that I have kind of play off of each other. So I guess let's start with the first one. Mars landing.
I think that it was rated, and you and I talked about this a little bit when you were like really excited about it. And listen, I'm super excited about what's happening. I think the videos I saw going around going, the first sounds from Mars, and all I heard was right. It was kind of like, cool. So the first sound from Mars is a servo motor. Neat. But I think you posted a picture, and a bunch of my friends posted a picture of the 360-degree picture.
Yeah.
That you could see.
So that's the next thing.
And
360
just
photos.
The sheer amount of stars.
Yeah. So that's the next thing. 360
okay,
photos.
We'll get there in a minute. Yeah. But I think, you know, as far as the Mars landing as it sits right now, super exciting that we have like a more proper rover that we have better communication with than we've ever had there.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to instill this like national and worldwide attention on the level that it probably should until we are closer to having something really big that can really do some work there, or a person.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
360 photos. I kind of hate them. And so I would say they're overrated. To me, they kind of fall in a class of like the 3D photo you can do on Facebook, and in all honesty, like 3D TVs and stuff. Like, it's a cool parlor trick, but to me, I can't really zoom in on it to see much detail. Things get a little distorted, and I don't know, like, it's just like poor man's VR to me.
Well, so I was just gonna say, I think that in my opinion, it's the precursor to VR, and it's like you have to get people excited about something. Because I remember when, and I saw the first one I saw was a Disney one where they did this really cool like VR style thing with that 360 where you could spin around with your phone and you could see everything in like this character meet and greet, but you could also like walk forward and then spin around and then walk all over this little area, which was pretty cool. And that was like their precursor to VR. So it's like there's this level of like, I feel like they're rated in my opinion because like they need to be there in order to get people excited about VR, and VR really is going to be the future in some way, shape, or form. I'm not completely sure of what that future is, but I think that VR it's going to be here, and it's not going to be a parlor trick.
See, and I would say to me VR is overrated. I think the future is AR. I think augmented reality is really what we'll see because you lose some of the nausea effects that sometimes VR and like VR has made like really big leaps and bounds from when you would put on a set of VR goggles and then vomit when you were done. But I think augmented reality, in my opinion, is the really big thing coming. And if you look at phone manufacturers and stuff, they're all really prepping for that with their processors and their software, or and the software backing them.
Yeah. No, I can totally see that. All right, so I've got two more for you.
All right.
HBO Max.
I would say rated, and I would have said a while ago overrated, because HBO just wasn't churning out the amount of custom content that they were doing before. But I think this change in the pandemic, where we're now on HBO Max able to see new release movies that would have been in the theater, is really exciting, and I think it brings that platform back to being relevant. But I don't think it's underrated yet.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at, where I think that the interesting thing is that me and you had a conversation where you said, hey, with the pandemic going on, like even when theaters are allowed to open again, you just don't see them being the same way that they used to. And I don't disagree. I think that there are quite a few people that would rather just sit in their home with a nice surround sound system, doing, drinking their affordable drinks and eating their affordable popcorn while watching a brand new release on a, 75-inch or 80-inch 4K, Dolby Atmos, whatever.
Right.
But then there's it's not that theaters will go away. And so now that we're having HBO Max, where it's like, HBO stands for home box office, which just makes that feel even more like what they're designed for. And you're not going to be tied to, I have to have I have to buy this new release movie for $45. And then, then when it actually gets released, for me to own it, I have to spend another $20. I'm just paying a subscription fee. I do think that it's rated, leaning towards the underrated, in my opinion. All right. So last one, this is probably the most important one that we're going to do today.
All right.
Michael Jordan.
I think he's underrated. And really, I remember being a kid and watching him play basketball and just being enamored at him. And it's funny that you bring this up, because just yesterday I was sitting around in my hotel room or something, and some footage came up of Michael Jordan playing basketball. And things he would do, like palming a basketball, and like he would just fake somebody out by going whoop and then like pass it, and like he was undoubtedly the king of assisting, but he also could score better than anybody in NBA history. So when people compare him to people like Kobe and all these other people, there's just, in my opinion, there will never ever, like, he's the Babe Ruth of basketball to me.
Yeah, and I think I agree. It's like, because we grew up, we're only a handful of years apart from each other. So like we kind of grew up reasonably in the same time frame. And I remember like watching him and just being like, I didn't really care for basketball, but like I can't not watch him play specifically. And like
Right.
I'm really big into statistics. Like I love fantasy sports because of statistics. And seeing people like, LeBron and Kobe, yeah, they've got a lot of points, and yeah, they have a lot of wins and all those kind of things. But it's like when you have Defensive Player of the Year awards, when you have most assists in a season, when you have as many rings, and as many points as Michael has scored, it's like it's hard to sit there and go, how is he not considered the greatest? Because no one else has those same, all of those acromens that that he has, right?
Yeah, it's just crazy. And I think you forget it, because I would even say, I saw some video footage of Larry Bird playing basketball as well. And I think, he also was just majorly underrated. When you compare these guys to the statistics and to like what basketball players today are doing, the way they played the game was different. And it was an art form that I think NBA has lost these days.
Yeah, that's like trying to compare someone, like a Tom Brady to like a Terry Bradshaw.
Right.
It's just like the game is so different, and that's not diminishing Tom Brady or Terry Bradshaw. It's just like it's hard to compare the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. 100% agree.
Yeah. Well, dude, hey, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you're traveling, and I'm glad that you didn't get into a car accident. while driving.
No, it's cool. We're driving real nice and safe.
So awesome. Thanks so much, man.
All right, thanks, Justin.
See ya.
Talk to you guys.
Bye.
Bye.